hiring criteria.
Good morning. Welcome to the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission November 9th meeting. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mr. Villalobos, items 2 and 3, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning Commission hearings are televised live on County and Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV, Channel 20 at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, San Ynez Valley, Santa Maria, and Orcutt areas. Rebroadcast of Planning Commission hearings are on Fridays at 5 p.m. on CSB TV, Channel 20. Today's hearing will also be streamed live on CSB TV's website and may be available for download in a day or two. Now for the roll call, Commissioner Blau.
Here.
Commissioner Brooks. Here. Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Cooney.
Here.
And Chair Farini.
Here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Wilson, items 4 and 5, please.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the Commission. For the agenda report today, we have one item on the consent item and then one item on the standard agenda. Staff has submitted a memo requesting the Commission to remove that from today's agenda, and it will be rescheduled when staff is prepared to bring that back for your consideration. In regards to item number 4 or number 5 for the projection report, looking forward on the projection report for the next hearing would be on December 7th. Staff has gotten communication both from the appellant and the applicant for the Brown appeal that was continued to the 7th, and the applicant and appellants are both in agreement to ask for that to be continued to the 14th. So you'll be seeing a memo from staff requesting that to be moved to the 14th. In addition, we have the McClellan Horse Camp scheduled for December 7th, and also, as of note, the holiday luncheon is scheduled for December 7th. On December 14th, the Brown appeal is showing up on the projection report. And then the Hill Winery has also been scheduled for the December 14th. Looking forward to the beginning of next year, Vintage Ranch is scheduled for January 11th. And then the Rancho La Laguna is scheduled for January 25th. And I think that's as far as we can go today on the projection report, looking forward.
Great. And item 6 is public comment. Anybody wishing to comment on items not on today's agenda? And, no speakers here.
And no speakers here.
Okay, very good. And item 7 would be Planning Commissioner's informational reports. Nothing there. And Commissioner Cooney.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I just wanted to extend congratulations to former Commissioner Joan Hartman for her ascension to the Board of Supervisors. And as we all know, we all served with her, and she worked very hard as a planning commissioner, and I'm certain will as a member of the board.
And item 8 is minutes of October 26th.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, and vote. Roll call, David.
Commissioner Blau.
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Cooney.
Aye.
And Chair Farini.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
And do we have a director's report today?
Yes, we do.
All right, very good. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Farini, Commissioners. Pleasure to be here. I'll be brief, but the items were pretty big that I'll be referring to. On the 1st of November, there were 2 items, and that was the Pacific Coast Energy Company came back to the board, and the CPCAN only alternative was approved. So the new wells were not approved, but now we can issue zoning clearances on seep cans to the extent that they become necessary in the future, and the frequency of those has dropped off considerably over the last couple of years. Also, we heard the winery ordinance update, and that was a very lot of testimony, and the hearing was continued until November 22nd with direction to the vintners that they provide a letter which specified what it was in the ordinance update that they liked and what it was that they didn't like. And once we receive that, we'll be prepared to respond on the 22nd. Yesterday, there were a couple of items. First was the Myers appeal for the Myers Bridge, and that was continued to the special hearing of November 22nd. So right now there's two items on the November 22nd board agenda, the winery ordinance update and the Meyer appeal. And then the last one was quite a large one, and that was the Gaviota plan. And the Gaviota plan was, I am pleased to say, adopted yesterday, and that is a culmination of many years of work that go back well before I was here. So it's really a great thing to get that one done. We're very pleased about that. And those are the items that I have to report on. If any of the commissioners have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
No
Okay,
questions?
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Russell. And on to the consent agenda. We have one item on there, and Mr. Villalobos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Laura Gow Studio 2G Architects Agent for John J. Will Family, LP, to consider case number 16 TEX 12, application filed on July 14, 2016, and to accept the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration, case number 07 NGD 34, pursuant to the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Commissioner Blau.
Yeah, I just have one question. I see that it's a one-year extension, and I know that we were talking about extensions on track maps and other things to align with the state law. I'm just curious, is the 1 year, is this different than it is for the track maps? Is that the issue, or why are we doing it only for a year and not 2 years is my question.
Chair Freeney, Commissioner Blau, Dana Edie is here to do the project planner, and she'll answer that question.
Okay, great, thanks.
Chair Freeney and Commissioner Blau, this is a time extension just for a development plan only, so the extension options for a tract map wouldn't apply in this case. And so they are different. In the past, this project has been extended based on economic hardship, and that's actually occurred 2 different times now. And the economic hardship option is no longer in the Land Use and Development Code, so now it falls back to just a time extension for a development plan, which is 1 year.
Thank you.
Okay, and is there any public comment? We don't have any here. None down south.
Mr. Chair, I had a question or two. I wonder, do we need to follow the formality of taking this off the consent agenda to ask questions?
I think that's what I meant to do if I didn't say it to begin with. So,
Okay,
yes, I think it's
so-
off the consent calendar. I'm requesting it to come off the consent calendar.
And so I think we'll take it off, and here we go. Commissioner
Okay,
Cooney.
great. Thank you very much. Well, I remember this project from years and years ago, and it was interesting to see it come back to the surface. The showing of good cause that's required for this particular extension, I didn't really see any evidence, and I wonder if Ms. Edie has other information about the need for this extension.
Chair Freeney and Commissioner Cooney, if you look in attachment D of your staff report, the time extension application is included. And in that time extension application, there's a section where it discusses why the time extension is needed, and the applicant has requested it as they are in the process of actually revising the scope of the project, which is phase 2 of the development. We currently have a development plan amendment in that we are processing to change the scope of phase 2 of the project, and they needed some additional time to get that completed.
So if if a new development plan or revised development plan is submitted, then what does that do for project approval? In other words, does that matter? The development plan have to come before the Planning Commission for review within this 1-year time extension?
Chair Farini and Commissioner Cooney, a development plan amendment is under the jurisdiction of the director, so it's a director level determination, and so it would not come before your commission, but it would need to be completed within the 1-year extension period.
Okay, and there's no prohibition on further extension if the applicant has need for it at the end of this time? Is that accurate?
Chair Farini and Commissioner Cooney, yes, that's my understanding.
And that application for a further extension would come to the Planning Commission,
Yes,
though, isn't that right?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Anything further? Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the extension per staff's recommendation.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can we just check for public comment before we vote on the motion?
I did, but we'll do it again. That's fine. We didn't have any up here. Was there any down there?
None.
Okay, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Blau,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Cooney,
Aye.
and Chair Farini.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, and then on to item 1 of our standard agenda.
Thank you. The following is a hearing on the request of Mark Chatello, attorney for Friends of Ballard Canyon, appellant, to consider case number 16 APL 13, appeal filed on April 27, 2016, of the zoning administrator's decision to approve a development plan and to adopt the revised final mitigated negative declaration 15 NGD 12 pursuant to the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Okay, so public comment? None?
None here.
And we need a motion? We have a staff report?
Okay, I'll make the motion then, that we move that we approve the request to have the project removed from this agenda, and it'll be rescheduled at a further time.
I'll second that.
Okay, and roll call.
Commissioner Blau,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Cooney,
Aye.
and Chair Farini.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
And meeting adjourned.